Hi, Misha here, and well, I think 2020 was supposed to be the year of the 5.56 AK, but I think 2020 was a lost year. So how about 2021? We have a couple here that have come out recently, and there's one more coming in maybe May from Zastava, their M90. But for right now, at the end of last year, we got the Arsenal SAM5. 5.56 caliber, milled receiver, import from Bulgaria. And in March of 2021, we got the FB-Radom Beryl M1, and we actually received this in both 5.56 and 7.62x39, which, yes, I know you know. If you're watching this channel, you know. But these are actually pretty close. This is an import from Poland. Both are derivatives of actual combat guns, not just semi-automatics for the US market. And they actually both are priced identical. When they were in stock, they were both $14.99.95. So, seems like a good comparison. With that, let's get up and close at the table and look at some features, and we'll go from there. What the SAM5 and Beryl M1 share, what they have in common. Both are true imports. Of course, the SAM5 from Bulgaria, the Beryl from Poland. They come over as sporter rifles and are converted with 922R parts here. The SAM5 needs 5 of them. The Beryl needs 6 because it's a stamped receiver. Interestingly, they both have the FIME trigger, which counts as 3 of their parts. Each also has a US pistol grip. And, you know, the other parts for the Beryl and whatnot. So they're both imports. Both come with a fixed stock, with the storage compartment for a cleaning kit. Both have a cold hammer forged chrome line barrel. Both have a NATO spec 5.56x45 chamber, also 223 Remington compatible. And both are sold taking double stack magazines. Heck, both even are sold with their country's current translucent mag, although the SAM5 ships with the 20 and the Beryl ships with a 30. And both have standard AK iron sights. And both are threaded 14x1 left hand. And of course, both are semi-automatic versions of real world military select fire guns that have seen combat. Of course, the SAM5 is based on the AR-M1, and the Beryl M1 is based on the WZ-96C. Now, how they differ. As Arsenal never misses a chance to talk about, their SAM7 and SAM5 series are built on a Bulgarian forged or milled receiver with proper lightning cuts here. Unlike the original milleds, these are press and pin barrels, but otherwise it's the classic milled style. It also has the slightly heavier smooth top cover, and it has the takedown button with the kind of the lip on it back here. Comparing that to the Beryl, this is on a more or less standard AKM AK-74 stamped receiver. Now it does have 3 rivets in the back for added strength, and it does have proper magwell dimples, and it even has the XY stamping, so it is a very much military style receiver. This has the ribbed top cover with slightly enlarged injection port for reliability. And it has the spring-loaded kind of automatic lock style. This receiver takes traditional AK-47 Type 3 milled stock, so it has 2 tangs, top and bottom, with 3 screws, 1 on top, 2 on bottom. This takes mostly standard AKM, AK-74 stocks, but they do need to have slight modification right here for the Beryl mount. Most stocks can very easily be modified. Both take a standard pistol grip, but the handguards are different. With this Arsenal, you need a lower handguard for a milled receiver, but the upper is standard. Well, the Beryl is kind of the reverse. It has this QD handguard system. Standard lower handguards fit for a stamped receiver, but then the upper is proprietary to the Beryl Tantal, although Atlantic has developed an adapter that'll let standard uppers fit as well. Moving forward, both have 90-degree style gas blocks. Notice this one has the bayonet lug on it. This one does not have the accessory lug block, it's machined off, but it does have the bipod lug. Moving forward here, front sight. These usually come with the muzzle nut. I just put on a Bulgarian so-called shark gill brake cleaning rod under the barrel. Here, our bayonet lug is actually under the front sight base. And then we have this kind of extended portion, and then it's threaded here with this Beryl style brake. So a little different arrangement. And you'll note that there's no cleaning rod under the barrel. That's not that they left it off. Beryls kept their cleaning rods in the mag pouch. And of course, one other thing. Both of them have pretty light profile barrels to save on weight, but the Arsenal is a 16 1/4, so standard AK length. But the Beryl's is actually 18 inches even, so about 1.75 longer. Likewise, the Arsenal is a 1 in 7 twist, so it favors slightly heavier ammo. But the Beryl is a 1 in 9 twist, and they did this in Poland because they wanted to be able to use M193 and SS109 ammo equally effectively, whereas this is more geared towards M855. So some differences there. You can decide which is better or worse. It's kind of a subjective thing at that point. But some things are less subjective. Let's look at those features. The Arsenal has a standard safety and standard magazine catch. But the Beryl has an enhanced safety with this shelf here, and an enlarged and extended mag catch. I think most would agree that the controls on the Beryl are nice, especially this mag catch. There's nothing wrong with the Arsenal, but it's very stock, very plain chain. These are just a couple of small, upgraded controls. As far as the barrel thing, it's up to you. The Arsenal is a little shorter, but I think having an 18-inch barrel, 18 inches is a really good length for 223 5.56. And also this has the ability to mount that bipod. It'll take the standard Tantal clip-on. It's basically based off the M16A1. Maybe not all that useful, but it is kind of nice to be able to just quickly clamp on a bipod. I also really like the QD handguard system on the Beryl. It's kind of a neat mechanical thing, whereas this is just traditional, standard handguard arrangement. Flipping them back over, even though the Beryl does have a longer barrel, the machined receiver of the Arsenal is heavier than the stamped receiver. So, as a general rule, the Polish gun will be a little longer overall, but it'll be lighter. The Arsenal gun, thanks to its lightweight profile, barrel, is lighter than a traditional 1950s AK-47, but it's still heavy. Of course, the triggers are a draw because they're the same trigger. So, yeah, that's kind of where you're at there. Now, scope mounts. The Arsenal has the standard side mount, and the Beryl has, well, the Beryl mount up here and back here. Some critique this for not coming with the over-the-top Beryl rail. It's a nice feature, but if you think about it, this doesn't come with the side adapters. You can't just slap an EOTech or an ACOG or an aim point right on this. So both guns need an adapter to put an optic on. While the Beryl rails are quite available now, it has to be said that this side mount will take a wider range of different devices. So some might consider the traditional side mount to be a good benefit, but on the flip side, this system gives you a nice long rail from here all the way back to here. And the POPC Gen 4 allows you to use the iron sights. The trade-off is it's a little tall. The POPC Gen 3 hugs the top cover, but your optic might obscure your iron sights, so it's kind of up to you. The only clear thing is the POPC Gen 2 is so ridiculously tall, it's almost kind of cool. It almost looks like a carry handle. But, yeah, you know, kind of comparing and contrasting. As far as, like, fit and finish, the Arsenal is their typical paint over phosphate. And Polish guns are either paint or phosphate, depending on the part you're looking at. Typically, it's mostly painted with some stuff being phosphated, like the bolt carrier. So they kind of use an either or method, whereas Arsenal does kind of one on top of the other. I think most would agree the FB finish is nicer. It's smoother. Isn't known for flaking or bubbling. The Arsenal paint is often critiqued. I don't personally mind it. It's a military paint job, but I get where people are coming from. So as far as finish, I would have to give it to the Beryl at this point. But I'd like to hear your opinions. What about the fitment, the machining? Well, there again, I would probably give it to the Beryl. Very nice rivets. Very nice machining on the bolt carrier. Nice machining on things like the gas blocks. Nicely turned barrel. Yeah, just overall nice quality. The Arsenal is not bad, but you can find some tool marks on an Arsenal if you look. They're not, again, they're not bad. They really are nicely done guns. But I think they mass produce a little more. Arsenal cranks out more guns than FB, and I think it shows. Their guns have a slightly more hasty appearance. For example, people still find them with canted sights from time to time. The FB is new to the market, so, you know, but they seem to, at least first impressions, have pretty straight, dead-on sights. And with that, fit and finish is nice and all, but the proof is really how they shoot. So let's run a couple of mags through each and then talk about shooting impressions from there. Polish Archer. Let's try this enhanced trigger. One more time. Archer. So let's talk magazines. Bulgaria has been doing 5.56 NATO guns since the late 90s, and they started off with a pretty simple 30-round black waffle. This is actually a generation 2 or 3 of these. The early ones are slightly different. And in the 21st century, they introduced these clear smoke ones, both 20 and 30 rounds. Now, quite famously, the early ones had some trouble with spider web cracking up here, but that was revised over 10 years ago, so it's kind of a non-issue. The black ones, I think, are generally accepted to be the best. When they're new like this, they do fit tight, but they wear in just fine. What you're doing there is they're intentionally oversized in the lug in the back, and then the mag catch, as it moves back and forth, will kind of scrape off excess phosphate or even polymer. The 20 rounders, which this actually ships with the 20, fit pretty good. They're a little bit thinner in the back area because of the polymer, but they're also a little bit thicker in the feed lip area. So that's what those come with. As far as our Beryl, the original mags were these black ones. Pretty much a derivative of the late Tantal mag, but marked 5.56 and different. Lock in perfectly fine. And these are good, dependable mags. This would have been what went to Iraq and Afghanistan in 2002, 2003, that time period. But wanting to get with the times, FB-Radom went to their own translucent smoky mag. Still with the slab body. There we go. You can tell they're new. Like so. Of course, this is the second generation. Their first pattern were clear, and they too had problems with spiderweb cracking, and that was around the same time as the original Bulgarian came out, 2008 time period. So let's try these in our Bulgarian here. Locks in very well. No play to speak of. Rack the weapon, no problem. And ditto. No problems. No excessive play. Now on the milled guns, they're good. On the stamped arsenals, it seems to me they fit with just a little bit of excess wiggle, but with the milled, not so much. What about the Bulgarians? Remember, this one also fit tight in the Arsenal. Now these will go in, but you are again kind of shaving a little bit of your polymer off. So once you fit them a few times, they work pretty well. But maybe the first dozen or so times they're going to be exceedingly tight. Not too bad, I suppose. Let's try the 20 rounds here. And here is where we run into troubles. What's happening is this is slightly thicker back here than our black one. And so that's not fitting the mag well. So generally speaking, I'm sure you can file these to fit the smoke, but then you will be taking kind of some reinforcement away. I would just suggest sticking for the Beryl with the factory mags, or the WBP 223 mags will work just fine. It's also been said by Atlantic that the polymer Zastava 223 mags will fit, but I can't say firsthand about that. And that's kind of the problem with the 223 5.56 AK thing. They use different mags, some slightly different, some different in a major way. So yeah, just kind of be mindful. With the Arsenal here though, you can use Polish mags, you can use Bulgarian mags, and a few others besides. With that, let's move on. And yeah, I know when I put the mags in earlier, I mixed them up. They do feel identical, they're just different coloration. So you saw the shooting clips. Of course, this one you've seen before. You saw me shooting my old Archer, but that's just an FB-Radom gun. This is just the newer version, and that gun is of course kitted out to full WZ-96 standard. This one is as it is imported today by Arms of America and Atlantic, and I thought this would be more honest. It is every bit the same. Very nice throw, nice strong spring behind it. Of course, it has the same kind of fine style trigger. Good balance. It kind of balances about right here where your offhand goes because of the slightly longer barrel. Scope rail doesn't really throw it off much. Again, this is the POP-C3, the slightly lower Weaver one, which some prefer over the 4. And our Arsenal here. Again, trigger is the same, literally. Now, I will say this has a smoother bolt throw. Not a surprise since it's on a machined receiver. The balancing point, though, is going to be further back because you have more weight here, and then you have a thin profile and shorter barrel out here. Reliability-wise, Jay and I have had Archers for eons, and they've been super reliable. I expect nothing less out of the current generation imports. Likewise, while this is a relatively new gun and it's only been on a couple of range trips, I did own one of the SAM5s back in the day and put well over 1,000 rounds through it. And it was 100% reliable too back then. So I expect reliability out of each. Again, as far as the scope mounting systems, it's kind of up to you if you like the side mount or the top. And for me, it's not really material. Neither of them can just straight up take any old buttstock, although this one is much closer. All you have to do is either modify its rear to take away this mount, or just slightly inlet the stock to take the square there. So not a big deal. Otherwise, it's standard. But this, of course, has a top tang and a bottom tang, like a mill gun. That also means putting a straight folder on there is going to be limited because it has to come out to here. And I definitely would not advise chopping these off. This is not a common gun. Anyway, even if it was, that would be kind of wrecking your receiver, which is quite possibly the most interesting part of this critter. So this one's a little smoother on the bolt through. They both have equal triggers. The only thing I can knock this for, it does seem to feel a bit over-gassed. It has a little more oomph, a little more recoil. Not unpleasant, but it just seems like maybe the spring's a little bit lighter and the gas port's a little bit more wide open. Whereas our Polish gun here, this is a pretty stiff spring. And probably the gas port is a little narrower because it's a military spec type gas port, and we have a longer dwell time out front. So as far as the actual shooting recoil impulse, I'm going to give it to the Beryl. What about control manipulations? Well, of course, each gun individually can be different. This safety's not loose, but it's, yeah. And I really do, as I said earlier, love this mag catch, this extended catch. It's a great feature. So those controls are nice. As for our Arsenal here, this safety is a little more positive and clicky, but still very easy to use. And it has a standard mag catch. Now, I definitely prefer the Beryl mag catch over this one. Not that this is bad, it's just, yeah. But on the other hand, safety-wise, I'd say they're about equal. This is a little smoother and more positive, but this one does have this extended shelf here, which is kind of nice. So I'd say safety-wise, they're about equal. Plus, this is new. I'm sure with a little work in, it'll be fine. Be fine. And yeah, that's about it. Iron sights are both threaded 14 by 1 left hand. Of course, this is screwed onto the barrel and timed. Doesn't have a detent. That may or may not annoy some people, but it is very tight from at least Atlantic. This is your standard AK threads that you can just press in the detent and unscrew. That's all I can really think of, folks. I really do like the Bulgarian gun, and it's great to get another one back. It really is. And I definitely miss mine. But when I bought my original one at the beginning of 2005, ordered it in late 04, the Beryl didn't exist. And it was actually getting the Beryl back in 2012, or the Archer back then, that kind of got me away from immediately wanting to get another Arsenal, because it's just a good gun. I would say overall it is a little bit lighter too. Hard to say, but they're real close. The Arsenal is a little shorter, but if I only had to pick one, I'm going to have to give it to the Beryl. They're both very good guns, but this has a little bit more military pedigree. It's a little more refined. It's got some of the nice features. It's got the longer 18-inch barrel. And things like the bolt travel. That'll smooth out with shooting. And there's just something about FB-Radom products. As far as what they come with, like I said, this comes with 130 round mag, soft tactical case, manual, and you get a stock bracket if you want to install a Beryl stock. Your Arsenal comes with typical stuff. Now, unlike a lot of Arsenals, this actually does come with a 20 round mag. A lot of your Arsenals just have a 5 or a 10, so at least they do give you a high cap mag with this. You do get a sling, cleaning kit, oiler, but then you get Arsenal's box that's made out of tissue paper. So packaging better on the Beryl, couple extra accessories with the Arsenal. Beryl comes with a larger mag. Neither one comes with a scope mount at this time, but you can pick them up starting at about 75, 80 bucks and going up from there. So it's up to you, but yeah, if I could only have one, it would probably be the Archer, the Beryl, and I know for a fact Jay feels the same way. Of course, he doesn't own one of the Arsenals, so he's probably a little biased. But this is just an opinion. They're very close to call. It's like scoring a gun that makes 95% versus a gun that makes 92% on an exam. They're both A quality guns. It's just one's, in my opinion, a little bit nicer. So there you go. There is my opinion for what it's worth. Exactly what you paid for it. If you have any questions, or if you own both of these or one or the other, please do comment below. And we're definitely excited to see what Zastava comes out with the re-released M90. That could be right in here. It has a lot in common with the Archer and the Beryl. We appreciate you tuning in. As always, if you could, like, share, subscribe, and if you'd like to help support the channel, please check out the link to our Patreon page. This is Misha, and we'll catch you very soon next time.